So Todd Bowles gave his sort of state of the Bucs address, if you will, kind of at the midway point. So Todd Bowles gave his state of the Bucs address kind of at the midway point of the season. Now that they're going into their bye week, and there's some things I agreed with them, and also some things I just didn't agree with. And there were very few answers on top of that, which maybe I'm not surprised because he's been a guy that really
he
won't
never gives answers.
touch injuries ever.
Yeah.
You know, you ask him, can you name one player, just one player you think has a chance, to come back after the bye? No, I'm not really sure. Next week's a big week. Got to see how the, Okay, so nothing there. Fine. And obviously they're very happy to be 6-2. And they definitely need the bye week. Every team, even he said, every team says that whenever it's week 4, week 5, week 8. He goes, but we really do need it because of all the injuries. But he says, their confidence strong. We have a long way to go. They know it's going to be a big second half. So they got to be ready when they come back, even though they're all excused for a week until next Monday. But I asked him about the trade deadline. It was just coming up a week from Tuesday. And, first and foremost, like Jason Licht never makes a deal. When I say never, he's done one in the time that he's been here before the trade deadline. He traded for a guy named Steve McClendon. I don't know if you remember him. He was a defensive nose tackle.
Yep.
Played sparingly, but did play. Got him from the Jets back in 2020, October 2020, which would have been Brady's year, I guess, right?
Yep.
And
you were all in that year. You were all in that year.
We're all in, yeah. Aside from
Antonio
that,
Brown after he was, suspended the first half of the
8
season.
8 weeks, yeah, he gets him, right?
You traded for Steve McClendon. I mean, you were all in. You traded for Gronk before the season.
Leonard Fournette, you signed.
Yep.
On and on, and even the next year, you went for Julio Jones and Kyle Rudolph, and there's all this sort of stuff going on. And you made the good point just a second ago, because I heard you say it, and I was thinking this. Why was it so fait accompli? We're going to do everything to win. Whoever Tom wants. Granted, he's got the rings, right? All of that, okay? But you're basically in as good or better position at 6-2 than you were then, or the same position, I guess. Why aren't you all in now?
I think. Oh, well, hold on, because I think there's a couple reasons, and I don't think they're not all in. But when Tom came, and you signed him unexpectedly to most of the world.
Yes.
So you get the GOAT to come here. You've got him for 2 years at most.
Right.
You hadn't made the playoffs in 12 years.
Okay.
So that's part.
So
I mean,
is this the goal now, just to make the playoffs? Because I thought it was to win a Super Bowl.
No. Hold on. But what I'm saying is so you have this chance. You've got 2 years guaranteed, maybe more. You don't know. And matter of fact, he retired after 2 years. Didn't end up coming back for one more.
Yeah, exactly. It was out 40 days. Yeah.
And your organization, like I said, hadn't been in the playoffs in 12 years. Jason Licht, we thought, was probably going to get fired before that happened. He did
possibly.
Not. Yeah. I mean, there was talk for years of, how does he get to keep his job at this point?
6 seasons, no playoffs.
Yeah.
There's very few GMs can survive that.
So if you're Jason Licht and you get the GOAT, and I'm sure part of the conversation was, I want guys, this, that, and the other. And so you say yes. This team today, you could see a setup for years to come. There's a lot of good young talent that they've drafted. Baker Mayfield's still only 30. You've got many more years with him, you think. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right.
I'm saying age thing more than a stature thing.
I think it's part age. I think it's part.
Couldn't say no. I like them eyes. He's got beautiful eyes. Don't look at them eyes.
Couldn't say no, but the other part is you're trying to fix 12 years and save your job and a bunch of other things. You probably saved your job once you hired him, but
yeah, exactly,
or signed him. But
once you sold out that stadium, it was pretty much saved.
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, but even then, when they were all in, they had some free agent signings, but they had made one trade. in the season.
They made one.
And it wasn't a major one.
No.
So, if they don't make a trade now, is it that much different than then? I mean, they didn't sign a lot of free agents this year.
No, I think the difference is that you already had, Hassan Reddick signed. You already had a bunch of free agents on that team, so there probably wasn't.
Yeah. And this roster is better than that roster.
You weren't as injured as you are now. I guess that too.
Before you signed Brady, this roster is better than that one.
I have to think about that.
Top to bottom, I think it is. Maybe not high end,
I just think the age and the relative injuries of the players were different, in 2020 than they are today.
But I'm saying before you signed Brady. Before you signed Brady. So then you didn't have Gronk yet. You didn't have Antonio Brown yet. You didn't have Fournette yet.
Right.
So, you compare the roster, the Jameis Winston 19 roster, essentially, plus whatever they drafted, to this roster. This roster is more talented. You added a bunch with Brady. And you went
right, but you got guys that are out. You got guys that are hurt. You got guys that aren't going to play.
Correct.
We don't know that we're going to see Jalen McMillan at all. We don't know that we're going to see Bucky Irving, and if we do, that he'll be able to function with a subluxed shoulder or whatever. We don't know.
You doubt you're going to see Mike Evans unless you go deep in the playoffs.
You wouldn't see Mike until the very least the last game or two of the regular season, and then what kind of conditions is he in? How well can he play? I just there's so many question marks about guys that you either don't know when they're coming back, and they'll tell you they don't know. Yeah. That's the thing. It's well, when we see him out there, then we'll know. Well, no one's seen anybody. No one's even seen him in the hallways.
We don't know about Luke Gedeke, your right tackle.
Yeah. And of all those players, I think Gedeke's probably the closest one. He's probably the one that will come back sooner than later. But the rest of them, here's the thing. And I know we talked about this, but it's you're one play away from, Tez Johnson becoming your number one receiver. That's absurd. It's absurd that you're going to be in that position. But that's where you're going to be. And if you think Sterling Shepard, who has his role as a slot receiver on occasion, and some of these guys are going to just suddenly step up and be number ones, ask Emeka Ibuka how's it going. How's it going when you're the one facing the cloud coverage? I heard him today on Casey Phillips' show, and she continues to do a really good job of talking to the players and whatnot. But he basically said, that was a lot different. It's every time you look up, guess what? They're playing outside leverage, safety inside, cloud coverage. He was facing two guys, if not more, every single time. And that's a different job. That's not how he got almost 500 yards in the first 4 games, And so if he's your one, your two is Tez, who's a 7th-round pick that no one thought, would do anything this year. Your 3 is probably still Shepard, and you just don't really have it. And so if you could get a guy that can help you, and I don't know that Antonio Brown's coming off the scrap peak, but if there's a player on another team that's a veteran receiver that can help you, because you're one injury away from catastrophe. I mean, that's where you're at. The reason why Baker hasn't played very well is twofold. One, this is really threefold. One, I don't think he's hurt. I think first and foremost, the oblique, the knee, all that stuff has been a factor. And then, the second thing is that they're having to get guys into block, and so the numbers don't work when you're 3-on-7. But the biggest thing might be simply is this: they don't have, bona fide receivers that are getting open that he can throw to. They're down, and while you got through a game with them a couple of times, or maybe even started a game and managed to win it, it's caught up to them. And these teams are not threatened by some of these guys, and and I don't know who that guy would be. I don't know if it's a Waddle in Miami. I don't know who that guy is. I just think you would benefit from having another receiver. You'd also benefit from other things too. Inside linebacker, a guy that can cover running backs would be nice. So there's a lot of good things on the wish list. And teams try to hold them for robbery. They try to hold them up and offer, ask for way too much draft pick compensation. And, we know that Jason Licht is risk averse. But, if this window is here now for a guy named Baker Mayfield, he may not be Tom Brady. But in many ways, your team is just as good. in some areas and not as good in others. But if you could make it better, what other than the name, you got a team that's going to win the NFC South. You got a team that's going to host a playoff game, and you're going to have to beat either Detroit, Green Bay, Seattle, or all of them to make it to the Super Bowl. And I'm just here to tell you that as the roster is constructed right now, it's going to be really, really hard unless everybody just comes back as their former selves. So I don't know. I think I'd be looking, if nothing else, insurance. And, the other thing is like receiver is not one of those positions that like offensive line where you have to be here for weeks and weeks to pick up the system.
Nope.
You got your route tree. Some people call it one thing. You call it something else. Scramble drills. You have guys that can catch the ball. Not that hard, right? To bring in someone. You could do it with a tight end. You could get some help on that because their tight ends, other than Kate Otten, don't catch the football.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems like, I don't know, maybe Jason will surprise us.
Well, I was going to say, here's the other thing. In the NFL draft and the trade deadline, it's liar's poker.
Oh, yeah.
Sure Todd Bowles isn't going to go out there and one, because if you don't make a trade, you don't want to be out there going, we're looking to make a trade.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you don't really want to tell the guys on the team now that, hey, we're looking to replace you, or you might be demoted a little bit.
6-2, congratulations, we took your job.
You're not really looking to tell your team that publicly.
No. I get the podium part. I do. I just think that it's Jason's nature never to make. When I say never, like almost never make trades.
It is, but the 1 year he was all in, he did make a trade.
And that's the thing. Like I'm trying to understand. I understand the guy had 6 Super Bowls. I understand he's Tom freaking Brady. I understand. I get it. But you have a 6-2 football team. You have a quarterback who was, up until 2 weeks ago, the leader in the MVP race, probably.
Right.
So why aren't you doing it for him?
Well, but you can't say why aren't you doing it because we haven't hit the trade deadline yet. Like, he's got a week to do something.
If they don't do it,
if he doesn't do it,
then I think it's fair to say, why didn't you? Because I mean, you know how this movie ends, right? In my mind,
there's 2 reasons you don't do it. Either one, you don't think this team, as it's constructed, with whatever you could add, can win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Based on we just have too much injuries, whatever it is. Or 2, the right pieces weren't there.
Well, that's always a thing, right?
You want an edge rusher. Okay, you want Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby. Well, both appear to be unavailable.
Yeah, no, the good players are rarely available, and if they are going to ask for a king's ransom. And I get that. I'm not giving up 2 number ones for Max Crosby.
Right.
To rent him for a couple games. I mean, those are the kind of things I would never advocate that they should do that. I don't think they would do it anyway. But let's, if there's Bradley Chubb, if there's a receiver, or Bradley Chubb's a guy I think could help them.
But he's got a history of being hurt, so you're taking a risk there too.
Yeah, so, for half a season of salary.
And what's the price? I mean,
half his salary. Oh, you mean draft pick compensation? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever you're giving up. I mean,
I have no clue.
It takes 2 to tango in a trade.
No. I know. I get it. And that's one of the reasons why there probably aren't more trades.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'm not saying that Jason Light's not working the phones or anything, but feels like, Baker Mayfield's put this team in a pretty good position. If you can just give them something, to give them over the top, that would be pretty nice right about now, because they need it. If I'm a Bucs fan or I'm a member on that team, my biggest fear is what? Emeka Buka's going to get hurt and we're done. Like, not just a little bit done, we're done. Love Tez Johnson, right? Cam Johnson's done some nice things, although he's very short. I don't think you can really function as an NFL offense if those are your 2 main receivers.
But if Ibuka gets hurt and none of the other receivers come back, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, even trading for a receiver, do you really think that's Super Bowl quality?
Well, not now. No. I mean, if you're down to 1, it probably wouldn't be.
Right.
I think
your hope is that you'll have Ibuka and whoever you trade for.
Sure. And then Godwin might come back. And, this would enable Godwin to make sure that when he does come back, he's truly 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what he's thinking in terms of, rushing through it or changing the timetable or what you need to play at this level. Like, I don't know. I'm just very, very curious about the 2 things because I'm telling you, here are your NFC teams, right? It's going to be Green Bay, Philadelphia, Detroit. There'll be at least 2 teams from, that Detroit division.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else. You'll have somebody from NFC South, probably the Bucs.
Yep.
San Francisco and LA. I think one will be a wild card, one will be a division winner. Probably LA, the division winner.
Not Seattle.
Seattle will be a wild card as well. I don't know how many teams I'm up to, but I think it's about 6. Maybe it's 7. I may have leaked over one, but my point is,
right now you have 2 wild cards in the West and one in the Central or the North.
okay, all right.
And is anybody from the East getting? Is the Cowboys going to make a run? Dak
No,
playing
just
well?
Philadelphia. Just they're one and done. Yeah, I don't got Washington making it. So I got Philly as a one and done situation. But even having said all that, like,
so you're probably hosting the Lions or Packers.
You're going to host. Yeah,
if you're the 4 seed. If you're the 4 seed.
Possibly Seattle if they don't win the division, right? Possibly. Yeah. And you've beaten Seattle. Let's say they host.
Although I don't know if you're not necessarily going to have the 4 seed this year.
No, probably not. But let's say for whatever reason you end up hosting a team like Seattle and you're like, oh, they beat them. We know that means nothing, And Todd Bowles said today, because I mentioned, I go, do you think you're in the same kind of league with the teams you lost to? With Philadelphia, that sort of thing. And he goes, well, all I know is we beat them last year and they beat us in the playoffs. So the fact that we lost to them this year means what? That the reverse is going to be true? No, it means that for 2 years now you've lost in the playoffs, to the teams that you used to beat, like Detroit, like Philadelphia, and they had their success against those teams. But I don't know, man. There's some part of me that if I'm a fan, I'm going, hey, all these injuries, help the team out. Go get somebody. There's got to be and again, not a first or second or third or maybe even a fourth rounder, but get some people that have played the game, just because I'm telling you, one bad Emeka Buka ankle turn, and you're playing with Sterling Shepard, and
well, he already had a hamstring issue. Now he didn't miss any game. He missed part of a game,
and I don't know that he's really 100% right now. He's playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he doesn't look the same, but then again, the coverage is different. He talked about it, like I said, on Casey's show, and he was very, very blunt, and said, "Well, yeah, I'm getting the kind of coverage Mike got,
yeah,
and he's not Mike. I mean, he's not. He's not 6'5".
Not yet. We'll see if he gets there, but
yeah,
he's definitely not in stature. But
right. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to beat double teams at some point if he's going to be a great receiver. But
yep,
anyway, it's interesting to me if they stand pat and then nothing positive happens and they get to the postseason with 10, 11 wins and they flame out in the first round and you're going, well, I thought that was a special team. You stated that you guys were, if you're not going in it to win the Super Bowl, then why are you playing? And yet you did nothing to help them from a roster standpoint. And it'll be like, well, show me what the cost is, right? Show me who the player is. Like, I get that. I do. Mm-hmm. I'm not just saying, I don't want to be one of these fantasy football people like, you need to trade for DK Metcalf. It's not going to happen, right?
And you're going to give up Keith.
That's right. And next year's number 1, and then the year after that, the number 2. So yeah, people like to play fantasy football, but I don't know. It's look, the team itself has, I think, overachieved. I think Baker is throttling down for a couple reasons. One, I think he's hurt.
I absolutely agree with that.
The knee's an issue, but the oblique may be a bigger issue because if you've ever thrown a ball, if you got oblique injuries, you really have a tough time turning your torso and stuff.
Well, a week off hopefully will help. I mean,
the week off will probably help them. Yeah, certainly won't hurt them. And they got a lot of guys nicked up, but between the lack of protection, the lack of receivers, and just him not feeling good. Well, the reason I knew he didn't feel good was he didn't try to scramble. He has run the ball, and when he's gotten into trouble in the pass rush, he's run the ball almost every game except this one.
Mm-hmm.
He just was not going to do it, and that tells me something about his health. So, nothing that a weekend in the Bahamas with your offensive lineman won't cure. I think there'll probably be some guys hanging out, don't you think?
Just don't go to Jamaica, unfortunately. Wow,
oh my God! You see that storm?
Oh,
holy moly!
It's going to be the strongest one ever to hit Jamaica. Cat 5.
It's insane. It's so scary. like, thank God it's bending away, and those poor people in Jamaica are just going to get the crap knocked out of them. But man, those things are majestic looking on satellite, and they're flying planes through the wall and stuff. But holy moly! But
What did I see? The
of God.
hurricane planes turned around. That was getting so rough that
It was too bouncy. Yeah,
which just they don't turn around for nothing.
No, because they sit right there in the eye wall.
Yep. So if they're turning around, it's bad.
It's going to be horrible. It's going to be absolutely horrible. But fortunately, I'm going to knock on wood, knock, knock, that, there's no interruption to the NFL season or college football season or any of that, because we don't need more storms. That's for sure. Hey, we'll talk a little bit about the Tampa Bay Lightning, some of the moves they're making. But first, get on down to Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. That's where you're going to find the most beautiful Switch watch you've ever even thought of owning. And that's right. You can own one too. The Breitling Boutique has been there at that mall for 5+ years. They've been making Swiss watches. The Breitling company has for over 140 years. And when you go, it's center of the mall, second floor. Go prepare to spend some time, because I'm telling you, the inventory is really quite crazy. The customer service is great. They're used to dealing with celebrities and pro athletes. You'll probably see one in there while you're there. But find out about these beautiful timepieces, the chronomats, the Navitimers for men, women's watches for your wife, your girlfriend. These are sports watches. They're incredibly durable and beautiful all at the same time. It is Breitling Boutique, and while supplies last, man, they've got the NFL team watches, 32 teams in the NFL, 32 team watches, as long as they last. You got to go to our website, tampabay.com, check out the Bucs team watch. It is really something special. You don't want one of these for collector's items. It is Breitling Boutique, International Plaza. Let them know you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. All right, so the Lightning making moves after they've won a couple in a row.
Yeah, Mitchell Chaffee placed on waivers on Monday. So this afternoon we'll find out if anyone claims him. Otherwise, then they can assign him to Syracuse. But Dominic James, the kid they signed out of Minnesota Duluth, who was originally drafted by the Blackhawks, chose to not sign in his 3 to 4 years, whatever the time limit was, then became a free agent, signed with the Lightning. He's kind of taken that spot on the roster. And the first 3 games he's played, he's been dynamic. Hit Mitch Marner a couple times, flies up and down the ice. Kid's really fast. And you're seeing John Cooper put him on the second power play and giving him some big face-offs. And, is a kid that has played, 4 games at Syracuse and now 3 in the NHL, and is showing he belongs and deserves to be here. So Lightning putting Mitchell Chaffee on waivers, and we'll see if anyone claims him today. So.
Well, I've always said greatness, you don't have to wait on it. It shows up right away. That was the case with when I first met Victor Hedman. We were doing the show at DAE, and he walked in, Steve, he was 19 years old. It's just hard to believe, but that's, 19, 20-year-old kid, nice as he is now, much thinner. He got put on a little man strength, but yeah, the kids, I think a lot of professional sports favors youth, and it's good to have it, especially speed.
But you can't teach speed.
No,
although you can, in hockey, you could make someone fast. Braden Point
make somebody a better skater, right?
Yeah, Braden Point was not always this fast.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So the one thing about Braden Point is, and if you talk to people that knew, so the Lightning actually traded up to get him in the 3rd round. They traded up 1 spot to get him, afraid that
3rd round. Okay.
Yeah. So he was a player that nobody was ever looking at, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd go to scout this player and this player, and it was Braden Point who always stood out.
Wow.
But he wasn't that fast, wasn't that big, but was always in the right spot, always had the hockey sense, always had, making
made
smart
the right
plays.
play, yeah.
And it was one of those guys that, wasn't going to flash at combines, wasn't going, all the metrics, all that weren't great. But it was one of those players you went to see somebody else, and he's the one you ended up watching.
Gamer,
yeah. That's what all the scouts said. And that's why Lightning actually traded up 1 pick to get him, afraid that I think it was Minnesota was going to take him. So they traded with Minnesota on that. And it was just that it factor.
Yeah.
But he's also one that has worked with Barb Underhill, their skating coach, and really improved his skating every year, like when he was young.
Right.
And wowed people. When he came when he came to training camp after his year in juniors, he wasn't supposed to make the roster, but gave him every reason to keep him, and they did.
Wow.
Never sent him back down. Like, it was.
Wow.
He just impressed that much, but it was the work ethic and that. But he's one that, I mean, he was a good skater, but he wasn't great like he is now.
Yeah, I think you can improve for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the Lightning actually have lots of stories. That Barb Underhill's their skating coach, and she's fantastic.
Okay.
And Dominic James, actually, the kid talked about, he's got a skating coach back. He's from Michigan. He's got a skating coach back there that he's worked with every summer and year, and just, working how to skate better. It's not so much he's faster. He just knows how to skate better. And there's
which will make you faster.
Absolutely, there's a science to that, and it's
Absolutely.
you can skate wrong and be really slow, and then all of a sudden fix the way you skate, the way you push off, the way you have your skates, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know the science behind it, but yeah, this speed, you can't teach speed, but you can make someone quicker on skates.
Well, if you can make them quicker on skates, that's awesome, because speed is what kills in professional sports. I'd have done anything if I could have taken a pill and gotten fast. I mean, I knew some guys that could run, man. They played the game different than I did. I could hit one in the hole, and some shortstop can slide and pop back up, and he's going to throw me out by 5 feet instead of like being safe. So, I mean, I tell you, I was slow. Now, I wasn't fast, but I had average speed at best. But it's like the guys that can really run. I mean, you're talking about, an extra, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hits a week. That's huge,
Well, and that's where, I can't wait for Chandler Simpson to figure out how to run the bases.
Right?
Once he figures out,
oh my God,
how to take a better lead, how to get a better jump, he's going to be incredible, because, I mean, we know how fast he is.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question, getting out of the box and getting to first or to second, but on the bases, he still hasn't figured it out yet.
And he's starting to improve a little bit as an outfielder. He made some good catches at the end.
Yeah. He's improving. I mean, he's got a lot of work there to do too, but he's young and getting better. And they say his work ethic is incredible too. Like, is a sponge and just wants to learn everything, and, works at it hard, which is what you want at a young kid.
Yeah.
You don't have to be polished yet.
Well, you think so many of them, maybe present company included, like, you get there and you're like, I made it. I'm a big leaguer now, And
some do.
Yeah.
Some there are people that can get to the big leagues, the majors, the whatever top league, whatever sport it is, on talent alone.
Yep.
But by the time you get to that level, you can't stay on talent alone.
No, because everyone's talented.
I've seen some players that were, the best of the best and just didn't put the work ethic in, and don't last long.
Isn't that crazy? That you'd have that kind of skill and you just like, nah.
But for their whole life, they didn't have to do it, and they got
true.
there. Like,
That's
they're
true.
so gifted.
That's true.
It's part of the, we always talk about athletes being spoiled or whatever, but you get that, I've been able to do this. I don't have to work hard. It's been natural my whole life.
True.
And, they don't develop that work ethic or that drive. A lot of it's just the drive. Like, go to the GOAT, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, the legendary stories of their work ethic.
Oh, their singular focus. Yeah.
And it's that way in any sport. Tom Brady watching film in this,
Yep.
When they faced the Chiefs, he said he knew their defense better than they knew it, because he watched so much film.
I believe him. Yeah,
absolutely.
You can tell by the way he played.
Yeah, they're so driven that they'll do anything, give up anything.
Yeah, the sacrifice, man. Whether that was the diet, all those things that he got into with Alex, like
the diet, the family time, the
people will do that. The great ones will do that. Kobe, they all did it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
stories of Kobe, winning championships and going to the gym that night to take 500 shots.
Incredible, man.
Wasn't happy with the way he played. I mean, come on. Tom Brady, 8:00 the next morning after the Super Bowl, going, "Hey, I got some plays we're going to do different." And this,
he was actually telling Bruce Arians, "I thought about some stuff we could do on offense next year." Yeah, it's like, hey, man, I just went to bed. Call me some other day.
Bruce may not have been in bed yet, but
no, it's true. Likely not. Perhaps not. Those are good times, though, man. They were fun times. I don't know. I'm not trying to get the pom-poms out here. Believe me, folks, I'm not. I've done this a long time. But to me, as some people will say, it feels like this is a resilient team. This is a team that believes in their quarterback. And teams sometimes take on the personality of their coach or their quarterback, or both, if they're similar in that respect. I feel like,
Look, if you can trade for the right piece.
I know it's got to be the right one. And you made the biggest statement was it takes two to tango. It's not like there's a bunch of great players out there that people say, would you please take him? And by the way, we don't care what you give us. Like, that's not going to make a deal work.
True. And this is true in other sports more than football because there's not as many trades in football.
Yeah. But there are trades in football.
But making the right trade, even it doesn't have to be a major piece.
Right.
But finding the right type of piece for the right position, this can lift the locker room, can lift the team.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
In hockey, players will talk about, well, obviously our general manager believes in us. We just traded for Oliver Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gord.
Oh, yeah.
And last year you heard Dylan Larkin after the season talk about Steve Yzerman didn't make any trades for Detroit, and that sunk their locker room.
Right.
Their locker room was like, we're fighting for a playoff spot, and we got no help.
You did nothing. Yeah.
When all the teams around us did get help. Now, like I said, football, there's less of that than the other sports.
True. But what do you think that Florida thought about getting Brad Marchand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and they traded for Seth Jones earlier in the year, and
right.
It
pair of those two. Yeah,
absolutely, it does.
Yeah, there comes a times when you just have to say we're going to go for it.
I think this year more than any other season, take out 2020, which he did make a trade.
Yeah,
but there were several free agent signings that propelled that team too. Like you said, Antonio Brown in the middle of the season. But this is the season more than any other that he's been GM that you would consider making a trade or giving up some of those value draft picks.
Right.
Now, what's available, what it costs, is it worth it? That's
all
different conversations.
That's all stuff we don't even know, right?
So, but more so than last year, more so than maybe 21 would have been different because you still had Brady, and that was maybe the last year with Brady. So maybe but outside of 20 and 21. This is the season more than any, I would say, yes, this is the time to go for it if the right piece or deal is there.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if they do. I like I said, I think that, all those guys throughout the league are risk averse. That's why you don't see a lot of trades at the deadline. But I just keep thinking, what if one more receiver? What if a Buka goes down? Like, what if, right?
But at some point, I mean, you always talk about if your quarterback goes down, you're done anyway, right? But at some point, you lose that much at one position, like
you might be through, yeah, regardless of who you were to bring in. I mean, that's
you didn't lose
too.
One or two. If you lose a Buka, you lost four.
Yeah. McMillan doesn't come back. Godwin doesn't come back. Obviously,
you don't even start four. Like you're losing backups.
Oh yeah,
before,
Oh, they're down to like 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and that's generous. Some of these guys, weren't supposed to get a helmet on Sundays. But I really just think for what they've accomplished, probably underrated in terms of like comeback wins and bounce back from Detroit, a very physical game. That was hard to do. I'm telling you, it was hard to do. And they managed to put themselves in a good position. Let's just see, if there's if there's a way to finish it. I would think that current ball players come back, it will certainly help. I don't think it's the end all do all. I've seen this. I feel like I've seen this movie before. But really, it just comes down how well you play in the one game. If you're able to host a game, you got to play well enough to win, obviously, and then you would roll the dice. About, hey, we can beat anyone. And I don't necessarily see a super team. Philly has had its hiccups. Detroit, obviously. San Francisco's so injured. The Rams, I think, might be the sneakiest, best team around because I think they're very, very strong. Long way away. We don't see much of them, but I like them too. Someone there, we'll see if the Bucs, are going to stand pat and just count on their doctors, count on their process, get their guys back, and kind of hold the fort. I think these next 3 games might be their hardest of the season, just the way it sets up. You got the Patriots at home. We're playing really, really well. Very aggressive team with Mike Vrabel leading the division. Then you go to Buffalo, which is in addition to just a horrible place to try to win a game. They got a really good football team up there and Josh Allen. And then I think you're going to see in short order the Rams, who, for my money, what I watched might be the best team in the NFC. If you're asking me, it's somewhere between Detroit and LA, it's kind of in the NFC is how I feel about it. And time will tell. And so if the Bucs win one of those 3, I'd say, okay, because then the schedule turns to divisional play, and you got everybody.
Yeah, well, then your schedule. I mean, and that Rams game's a Sunday night game too, so
it's a Sunday night. Yeah,
which means travel back to Tampa.
Long flight, short week, right. But you got Atlanta on a Thursday night.
Well, so after that, the schedule is 2-5 Cardinals at home, 1-7 Saints at home, 3-4 Falcons at home.
Oh, wow.
Then you're at the 4-4 Panthers, at the 2-6 Dolphins, and then the 4-4 Panthers at home. Those last 6. I mean, you could go 6-0.
You should run the table. If you're a good football team, you probably run the table.
You're going 5-1 at worst case if you're a good team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In that schedule.
Yeah.
You got 4 of those 6 are at home too.
So I mean, you're sitting here with 6 wins already. You feel pretty good about the way things are going. It's just like what happens, after that. So
yeah, I mean, you're at 6 wins now. If you get 5 in those last 6, that's 11 wins already in the season, regardless of what you do the first 3 out of the break.
That's right. Yeah.
And 11's going to win you. It's going to win you the division.
These 3, for sure. These 3 are just kind of like bonus. You know what I mean? It's like how much do you want to pad your record?
Love to take 2 of 3. If you get 1 of 3, you're still fine.
You're still okay. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can get 3 of 3, fantastic. But
yeah, but they got all those teams coming here. You got to go to Carolina, but aside from that, everybody's coming here, so that should be home field advantage. All right. Well, we'll find out more as we go along. Do some mailbags this week. The Bucs are on a bye week. Doesn't mean we can't talk about them. We certainly will do that. Get your mailbag questions in at SportsDayTB. Reach me on Twitter at NFL Stroud, or my email address is rstroud@tampabay.com. Go see our friends at Breitling Boutique. That's where you're going to find the NFL watches, all 32 team watches, while supplies last. Watches for your wife, your girlfriend. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Please let them know you heard about it here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. One other thing, I got a shout out from Kyle Brandt today, which was really cool.
Did you make an angry run or something?
No, I didn't. I commented on it because he had one of the candidates for the angry run was Anthony Nelson.
Yes, what he did to Spencer Rattler.
What he did to Rattler after he caught the ball and scored. It was brutal. And I thought he was going to win the scepter, but he didn't. But anyway, thank you, Kyle Brandt, KB. Saw him last Thursday. He was in there talking to Baker. The Baker interview was pretty fun, too. He had a bunch of pictures, including one that was Photoshopped with him in a Lombardi trophy, which is, of course, his goal. So anyway, thanks, KB. Hey, thanks for listening to everyone out there. For Steve Versnick, I'm Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.